Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Bharat Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Pathology, Faculty of Homeopathic Sciences, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Today's topic is esophagus and its diseases. Now, normal structure. The esophagus is a muscular tube extending from the pharynx to the stomach. In an adult, this distance measures 25 centimeter. However, from the clinical point of view, the distance from the incisor teeth to the gastroesophageal junction is about 40 centimeters. The region of proximal esophagus at the level of cricopharyngeus muscle is called the upper esophageal sphincter, while the portion adjacent to the anatomic gastroesophageal junction is referred to as lower esophageal sphincter. Here you can easily see the upper esophageal sphincter and lower esophageal sphincters, and the length of esophagus is about 10 inches or 25 centimeters. The mucosa is composed of the esophagus mucosa is composed of non-keratinizing stratified squamous epithelium overlying lamina propria, except at the lower end of the distance of about 0.5 to 1.5 centimeter. At the lower end of the esophagus, there is sudden change from stratified squamous epithelium to mucin secreting columnar epithelium, and this is called the junctional mucosa. The submucosa consists of loose connective tissue with sprinkling of lymphocytes, plasma cells, and occasional eosinophil and mast cells. Mucus producing glands are scattered throughout the submucosa. The muscularis propria is composed of two layers of a smooth muscle, an inner circular coat and an outer longitudinal coat. The proximal portion of esophagus contains skeletal muscle fibers from cricopharyngeus muscle. The parasympathetic nerve supply by the vagus nerve is in the form of extrinsic and intrinsic plexus. The adventitia and serosa is the outer covering of esophagus. Serosa is present in the intra-abdominal part of the esophagus only, while elsewhere the periesophageal adventitia covers it. The major function of esophagus are swallowing by peristaltic activity and to prevent the reflux of gastric content into the esophagus. Inflammation of the esophagus is known as esophagitis, occurs most commonly from reflux of gastric juices, although a number of other clinical conditions and infections may also causes esophagitis are discussed below. First is reflux esophagitis or peptic esophagitis. Reflux of the gastric juices is the commonest cause of esophagitis. Pathogenesis: gastroesophageal reflux to an extent may occur in normal healthy individual after meal and in early pregnancy. However, in some clinical conditions, the gastroesophageal reflux is excessive, resulting in inflammation of the lower esophagus. These conditions are as under: first is sliding hiatus hernia, second is chronic gastric and duodenal ulcer, third nasogastric intubation, third is persistent vomiting, fourth is surgical vagotomy, fifth sixth is neuropathy in alcoholic diabetics, seventh is esophagogastrotomy. Morphological features: endoscopically, the demarcation between normal squamous and columnar epithelium at the junctional mucosa is completely lost. The affected distal esophageal mucosa is red, erythematous, friable, and bleeds on touch. In advanced cases, there are features of chronic diseases such as nodularity, stricture, ulceration, and erosions. Microscopically, the reflux changes in the distal esophagus includes basal cell hyperplasia and deep elongation of the papilla touching close to the surface epithelium. Inflammatory changes vary according to the stage of the disease. In early stage, mucosa and submucosa are infiltrated by some polymorph neutrophils and eosinophils. In chronic stage, there is lymphocytic infiltration and fibrosis of all the layer of the esophageal wall. Now, Barrett's esophagus. This is a condition in which, following reflux esophagitis, stratified squamous epithelium of the lower esophagus is replaced by columnar epithelium. It is also known as columnar metaplasia. Barrett's esophagus is a pre-malignant condition evolving sequentially from Barrett's epithelium, columnar metaplasia with goblet cells, to dysplasia, to carcinoma in situ, and finally to esophageal adenocarcinoma. Morphological features of Barrett's esophagus. Endoscopically, the affected area is red and velvety. Hiatus hernia and peptic ulcers at squamocolumnar junction or Barrett's ulcer are frequently associated. Microscopically, replacement of squamous epithelium by metaplastic columnar cells. There may be changes of peptic ulcer due to presence of fundic gastric glands or cardiac mucosa glands. There may be development of a stricture in the long segment, and intestinal metaplasia may be accompanied by dysplastic changes of the columnar epithelium. Other causes of esophagitis. Infective causes. A number of opportunistic infections in immunosuppressed individuals can cause esophagitis. Some of these agents are as follow: Candida esophagitis, herpes simplex esophagitis, cytomegalovirus, and tuberculosis. Other causes of esophagitis, none non-infective causes. First is eosinophilic esophagitis caused by radiation or corrosives. Intake of certain drugs can cause esophagitis, like anticholinergic drugs or deoxycycline tetracyclines. Ingestion of hot irritants fluid can cause esophagitis. Crohn's disease can also cause esophagitis, and various vasculobulbous skin diseases can cause esophagitis. Tumors of esophagus. Benign tumor of the esophagus are uncommon and small in size, less than 3 centimeters. The epithelial benign tumor projects as intraluminal masses arising from squamous epithelium or from columnar epithelium, adenoma, or squamous cell papilloma. The stromal or mesenchymal benign tumors are intramural masses such as leiomyoma and other like lipoma, fibroma, neurofibroma, rhabdomyoma, lymphangioma, and hemangioma. For all practical purpose, malignant tumors of the esophagus are carcinomas because sarcomas such as leiomyosarcoma and fibrosarcoma occurs with extreme rarity. Carcinoma of esophagus. Carcinoma of the esophagus is diagnosed late after symptomatic esophageal obstruction, dysphagia, has developed and the tumor has transgressed the anatomical limits of the organ. The tumor occurs more commonly in men over 50 years of age. Etiology. Although exact etiology of carcinoma of the esophagus is not known, a number of conditions and factors have been implicated as under. First is diet and personal habits. In diet and personal habits, heavy smoking, alcohol consumption, intake of food contaminated with fungus, and nutritional deficiency of vitamin and trace elements can cause esophagus carcinoma. Second is esophageal disorders, which can lead to esophageal carcinoma. Esophagitis, achalasia cardia, hiatus hernia, diverticulitis, and Palmer-Windsor syndrome can cause carcinoma of esophagus. Other factors that can affect the development of carcinoma of esophagus are races. More common in the Chinese and Japanese than in Western races, more frequent in black than whites. Family history association with tylosis, keratosis, palmarist, plantarist. Genetic factors, predisposition with celiac disease, epidermolysis bullosa, and tylosis, and human papilloma virus infection is a recent addition in etiological factor. Carcinoma of the esophagus is mainly of two types: squamous cell epidermoid and adenocarcinoma. Here is the diagram which can shows the adenocarcinoma is only 10% occur and squamous cell carcinoma occur almost 90% of the cases, and squamous cell carcinoma cover all upper third, middle third and lower all the part of esophagus, but adenocarcinoma only covers the middle third and lower third part of the esophagus. Squamous cell carcinoma, grossly three type of the pattern are recognized. Polypoid fungating type is the most common form. It appears as a cauliflower-like fibrous mass protruding into the lumen. Ulcerating type is the next common form. It looks grossly like a necrotic ulcer with everted edges. Diffusing infiltrating type appear as an annular stenosing narrowing of the lumen due to infiltration into the wall of esophagus. Microscopically, majority of the squamous cell carcinomas of the esophagus are well differentiated or moderately differentiated. Prickle cell, keratin formation, and epithelial pearls are commonly seen. However, non-keratizing and anaplastic growth patterns can also occur. An exophytic, slow-growing, extremely well-differentiated variant, vari- varicose squamous cell carcinoma, has also been reported in the esophagus. Adenocarcinoma. Adenocarcinoma of the esophagus constitute less than 10% of primary esophageal cancers. It occurs predominantly in men in their fourth to fifth decades. The common location are lower and middle third of the esophagus. Grossly or esophageal adenocarcinoma appears as a nodular elevated mass in the lower esophagus. Microscopically, adenocarcinoma of the esophagus can have three patterns. Intestinal types is the adenocarcinoma with a pattern similar to that seen in adenocarcinoma of intestine or stomach. Adenosquamous type is the pattern in which there is an regular admixture of adenocarcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma, or adenocystic type is an uncommon variety and is akin to similar growth in salivary gland, that is a cribriform appearance in an epithelial tumor. Adenocarcinoma of the esophagus must be distinguished from the adenocarcinoma of the gastric cardia. This is done by identifying the normal esophageal mucosa on distal as well as proximal margin of the tumor. Other carcinomas beside the two main histological type of esophageal cancers, a few other varieties are occasionally encountered. These are as follows: mucoepidermoid carcinoma, malignant melanoma, small cell carcinoma, carcinoma, carcinosarcoma, and secondary tumors. Spread of adenocarcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma. Spread the esophageal cancer spreads locally as well as to distant sites. First is local spread. This is the most important mode of spread and is of great importance for surgical treatment. Local spread may occur in the transverse as well as longitudinal direction. The tumor may invade below the stomach, above into the hypopharynx, into the trachea, resulting in tracheoesophageal fistula, and may involve laryngeal, causing hoarseness. The tumor may invade the muscular wall of the esophagus and involve the mediastinum, lungs, bronchi, and pleural and aorta. Lymphatic spread. Some mucosal lymphatic permeation may lead to multiple satellite nodules away from the main tumors. Beside, the lymphatic spread may result in metastatic to the cervical, paraesophageal, tracheobronchial, and subdiaphragmatic lymph nodes. Hematogenous spread. Blood-borne metastases from the esophageal cancers are very rare, probably because the death occur early due to invasion of important structures by other modes of spread. However, metastatic deposits by hematogenous route can occur in the lungs, liver, and adrenals. Thank you.